I had a few dreams last night, and in one of the dreams I was sleeping. I'd been travelling and I was tired, so I wanted to lie down and rest just for a few minutes, but I ended up going into a deep sleep for a couple of hours. Now, this raises some interesting questions. Is the deep sleep that I experienced in my dream the same as the deep sleep most of us experience each night? Deep sleep is defined as that state in which we don't dream. But this deep sleep was happening within a dream. So was that deep sleep in the dream the same as ordinary deep sleep? And what if I had been dreaming? Maybe I had been dreaming, but I forgot. I forgot when I woke up. And when I woke up in the dream, I would have probably taken the same attitude to the dreams as we normally take to dreams. I would have probably forgotten it or not given it much thought, because when you're awake, that's what's real. Even though when you're dreaming, it's very real, perhaps even more real than it is when we're awake. So if I had been dreaming, what's the reality status of these dreams compared to the dream in which they happened? Would they be less real in the dream? Or would they be of the same nature? Is the dream in the dream as much dream as dream? If you get my drift. I wonder if you can see where I'm going with this. One of the main emphasis of the Yoga Vasishta is that there's no essential difference. There's no essential difference between the dream within the dream and the dream. And there's no essential difference between dreaming and being awake. This is the point. This is the point. Our body has no more reality than our dream body, the body we have in a dream. Vasishta continued. The gross physical body exists in the ativahika, or the subtle body, even as water exists in a mirage. It's only an apparent existence, isn't it? So this subtle body, the ativahika, this is supposed to be the body that transmigrates. And this usually conjures up some kind of ghostly soul floating from the physical body into the next one. But it isn't like that at all. I talked about this previously. It's really the impulses, it's our impulses, it's our ideas, it's our notions, it's our beliefs, it's our stories which get propelled forward. And they're not even our stories, because we are one of these stories. It's the stories that get propelled forward. So it's not our stories, just the stories. And one of these stories is that we have a physical body. You might take this as axiomatic, as self-evident. How can you dispute the existence of the physical body? Well, I've done it often enough in the past. But we have to challenge this feeling that we've got that something is self-evident. It doesn't actually stand up to scrutiny any more than it would if we were doing it in a dream. If this is a dream and I'm arguing for the existence of the physical body, we could make the same arguments. It's only retrospectively that we can say, well, it was just a dream, there's no physical body. But when you realise that everything is the nature of consciousness, of awareness, the same argument applies. But we'll say more about this in a minute. So the subtle body is the body of our notions, the body of our ideas. And not realising that they're notions and they're ideas, we take it as real. On account of the erroneous perception of the body this physical body comes to be accepted as an entity, even as a piece of wood is taken to be a man. I suppose this is a common occurrence before the advent of street lighting. If you were walking home at dusk, perhaps near or through a forest, then you'd probably see all sorts of images in the trees and in the foliage. You might even think you see faces or people. How mysterious and how powerful is illusion, that it makes the unreal appear real and the real appear unreal. We live with things completely the opposite way around. This illusion exists only because of the non-understanding of the truth. The activity and the behaviour of beings in this world are governed mainly by the vision of the yogis and to a small degree by the perception of the mind. Hence, these two may be accepted as true, but he who abandons the former and clings to the reality of matter endeavours to quench his thirst with the water of the mirage. So matter is a notional thing. It seems solid, but it's notional. But what about this first sentence? The activity and the behaviour of beings in this world are governed mainly by the vision of the yogis and to a small degree by the perception of the mind. Well, I don't think there's any governing going on or being governed, but the vision of the yogis is clearly the understanding that everything is consciousness. And it's consciousness which governs everything, if we can use that word. The activity and behaviour of beings is also governed to a small degree by the perception of the mind. This phrase isn't very clear here. Is it by perceiving the mind, or is it the notions of perception which exist in the mind? I'm going to go with the latter there, because what's going on? There's consciousness, and there's the whole stream of experiencing, which has different qualities, which leads us to divide it according to certain qualities, which we might describe as visual, sonic, and relating to the senses generally. There's also feelings going on, emotions, although we have to be careful about the stories that we start putting onto these feelings. That's the emotions. So there might be a feeling of jealousy, for example. But what we do is we get caught up in thoughts, and mainly to do with the person that jealousy relates to. But all there is a feeling. It might be a very uncomfortable feeling, but even that, calling it uncomfortable, we shouldn't go any further than that. There's a feeling of discomfort, a pain. It's a pain. Maybe we could describe it as physical, but it's just a pain. That's all. There's a sensation going on. So there's what we could call the sensory aspects, and there's sensations, or just simply feelings. We're not getting caught up in the stories. So this could be understood as the perception of the mind. We know that all these stories are going on, so we can acknowledge the stories too without getting involved in them.